Well, a major win for House Republicans in their push to secure and also protect elections right here in the U.S. Yesterday, the House voted in favor of a resolution that would attach the Save America Act to a funding bill that needs to be approved. House Republicans are also asking the Senate to do the same thing, but so far, it has not happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So President Trump just cornered the RINOs using the Save America Act. And this is a bill that President Trump and the American people have been asking for the past couple of months. And RINOs, they've been giving every excuse as to why they cannot pass this bill. They've been saying they don't have the votes, especially in the Senate. They don't have the votes and that they cannot overcome that 60-vote threshold or the filibuster. But now, House Republicans, what they did, they passed the Save America Act using reconciliation. And what this will do, this will bypass that 60-vote threshold or the filibuster. And now Senator John Thune, the RINO leader in the Senate, is saying that there's a possibility they won't be able to pass the Save America Act using reconciliation. And now a lot of folks are calling for his firing. Let us hear what John Thune had to say in regards to this matter. Watch this clip.
I guess I would start by saying that, reconciliation, as you know, is very different in the House than it is in the Senate. So we'll see what they're going to try and mark it up in the committee, and we'll see if they can report it, get it across the floor of the House, and what it all contains. What are the implications over here with respect to the Byrd Rule and the restrictions that we have on how reconciliation is used? Do we have 50 votes for something? I think those are all valid questions, and those questions will be answered in due time. I've said all along, as you know, that it's an option, but it's not certainly the only option, and it all, in the end, comes down to whether you have the math, whether you can get 50 votes to pass it in the end, and whether you've got 50 votes to defeat any poison pill amendments that might be offered. And so those are all questions that will have to be answered in due time.
That was Senator John Thune, the RINO leader in the Senate, casting doubt on the Save America Act. After President Trump been pushing for this, the American people been pushing for this bill. The House, they've passed this bill multiple times. Senate Majority Leader, Senator John Thune, he's sitting there and he's holding up this process. But Senator Mike Lee actually said something which is very interesting. He said, if we spent half the energy debating the Save America Act instead of explaining why we are not debating it, we might be able to pass the darn thing. And Senator John Thune, he actually mentioned something. He mentioned the Byrd Rule. And this is the latest excuse that they're giving us as to why they cannot pass this bill. But Senator Mike Lee, again, he actually nuked this excuse by these Senate RINOs. Listen to what he had to say in regards to the Byrd Rule. And if you don't know what the Byrd Rule is, it's basically a rule that limits what can and cannot be included in a budget reconciliation. And the Senate parliamentarian, I believe she's the one that makes this decision. But listen to Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, what he had to say in regards to this.
In the coming days, there may be a fair amount of conversation about budget reconciliation and about what can happen on budget reconciliation as far as getting significant parts of the Save America Act, or at least some of the benefits of the Save America Act, passed through budget reconciliation, which allows us to do it at 51 votes without a 60-vote cloture vote. One of the arguments you're going to hear over and over again is we've got to protect the parliamentarian. The parliamentarians' rulings have to be sacrosanct. They can't be overturned. Look, nobody's calling for the parliamentarians' rulings to be overturned. Why? Because the parliamentarian doesn't rule. She lacks that power. Only the presiding officer rules. The parliamentarian merely offers advice. The presiding officer, whether that's the Vice President of the United States, the President pro tem, or the acting President pro tem, meaning a senator from the majority party who is assigned at regular intervals to fill in the absence of the Vice President, it's the presiding officer who makes the ruling. It's then up to the Senate to either sustain or overturn that ruling. In most contexts, it takes a simple majority vote to overturn the ruling of the chair. In budget reconciliation, it takes 60 votes, so the math changes.
So basically what I'm hearing is that the Byrd Rule will not be an issue. And if you don't remember, the Byrd Rule is this rule that states what can and cannot be included in a budget reconciliation. And the Save America Act was just passed via reconciliation out of the House. And the parliamentarian, she's the one that makes a recommendation as to what violates or doesn't violate the rule. And then the presiding officer of the Senate takes that recommendation or disregard that recommendation. And per the Constitution, the vice president is the presiding officer of the Senate. So basically what I'm hearing is that the Byrd rule will not be an issue. And because of that, now everyone is figuring out that Senator Majority Leader John Thune, he's stalling, because here we have Anna Paulina Luna, or Paulina Luna, however you say her name. I'm pretty bad with names. I'm sorry. She said, what I love about what the House is now doing with the Save America Act is Thune will have to make a call. Is he personally going to gut the Save America Act from every bill the House sends to the Senate? It will be at his direction, and everyone is watching. And I completely agree. John Thune is backed into a corner. And if he's not able to get this bill across the finish line, then I think Senator John Thune should be fired. And here we have another tweet where someone says, if John Thune doesn't get the Save America Act passed by August recess, he must be removed. And the question is, why are they going on recess again? They literally just got back from recess in July. And I think they had one in June, and the one month before that, and before that. Why are they going on recess? And here we have Senator Rick Scott calling for the Senate to stay back in order to pass the Save America Act. Let's listen to what he has to say. And John Thune was asked about this, and you'll be surprised what his answer was. Play clip.
You know, you typically don't get to leave your job until you get the work finished, right? We should do the same thing. We're back in DC. We need to pass the Save America Act. And if we don't, no August recess.
I agree. Congress should not go on recess until they pass the Save America Act. It's just crazy. It's just like someone hiring you. You go to the workplace, you don't get anything done, and then you're going on vacation every other week. That's literally what Congress is doing. And here, Senator John Thune, he was asked about this because there are a lot of people calling for the Senate to stay back in order to pass the Save America Act. And this is what he had to say in regards to that. Watch this.
Leader Thune, Senators Mike Lee and Rick Scott are both calling on the Senate to stay in session and bypass any recesses or weekends to get the Save America Act across the finish line. Is that something that you're open to and would support?
Well, if I thought there was a path to getting a positive result or a positive outcome, I'd do well to do just about anything, because I think we are all here in favor of the Save America Act. The folks that have consistently block voted against it are all the Democrats in the United States Senate. And I think that's unlikely to change. And it's also very unlikely that the Senate Republicans are going to vote to get rid of the legislative filibuster. So we had 5 votes on it.
That was John Thune saying that if he knew of a path to get the Save America Act passed, he would have essentially opted to take that path. And I would say there are a couple paths he can take. Because for one, you can nuke the filibuster. Let us start there. Or maybe pass a bill using reconciliation, like what the House just did. But no, he's going to blame Democrats for everything. And while I do think Democrats should be blamed for a lot of these things, for not getting anything done, we cannot depend on the Democrats to do anything at all. And here we have Chuck Schumer pretty much saying that the Save America Act is dead on arrival. And let's listen to what Chuck Schumer had to say.
With Trump's voter suppression SAVE Act, Republicans should know by now that it ain't going to fly with us, with the courts, or with the American people. I'll say it as many times as it takes. The SAVE Act is dead on arrival here in the Senate. I don't care how Republicans try to package their plan to resurrect the old ghost of Jim Crow, we will kill it. Trump's blatant effort to strip Americans of their voting rights is withering in the courts, too.
That was Chuck Schumer saying that the Save America Act is dead on arrival. And I think it's only dead on arrival if the Republicans, they want it to be that way. And Chuck Schumer, he continues to lie about the Save America Act, continue to call it Jim Crow 2.0 and all these different things. But at the end of the day, the Democrats are scared because if the Save America Act should be passed, where voters are required to show an ID, to show proof of citizenship in order to vote, then you won't have all these illegal immigrants and, folks that's not supposed to be voting. You're not going to have them voting. And that is terrifying for the Democrats. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below in regards to the Save America Act. Do you think this reconciliation bill will be passed in the Senate? Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.